Boxing is currently home to a vast array of elite fighters, all vying for the coveted title of the sport's mythical pound-for-pound best. With top-tier matchups becoming more frequent in recent years, one fighter has stood out by fully capitalizing on this golden era: Ukraine's undefeated superstar, Oleksandr Usyk. In the spring of 2024, Usyk cemented his place in boxing history with a thrilling victory over Tyson Fury, becoming the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the four-belt era. This remarkable feat was just the latest in a series of extraordinary achievements that began over a decade earlier. In this video, we'll explore the defining moments of Usyk's illustrious career and the unique qualities that make him one of the greatest fighters of all time, a legacy built in the amateur ranks. As tempting as it is to focus on his recent historic triumphs, Usyk's greatness cannot be fully appreciated without acknowledging his decorated amateur career. His relentless training and dedication in those early years laid the foundation for his eventual success in the professional ranks. Usyk compiled an astonishing amateur record of 335 wins in 350 bouts, competing in top international tournaments from the age of 18. His talent earned him a spot on Ukraine's Olympic team, and by 21, he was representing his nation on the grandest stage at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Although Olympic gold remains the ultimate prize for any amateur boxer, Usyk's journey in Beijing ended in the quarterfinals after being outpointed by Italy's Clemente Russo. Nevertheless, this setback was merely a stepping stone in his path to greatness, as he would return stronger and ultimately achieve Olympic glory 4 years later. This heartbreaking defeat ignited a fire within Usyk, setting him on the most important mission of his career. Over the next 4 years, he dedicated himself relentlessly to preparing for another shot at Olympic glory. His hard work paid off as he powered through the competition, securing a dominant 6-point advantage. Along the way, he claimed gold at the 2008 European Championships and the 2011 World Championships, solidifying his status as one of the top contenders heading into the 2012 London Olympics. Usyk's path to gold was anything but easy. Victories over Russia's Artur Beterbiev and Bulgaria's Turval Pulov set the stage for a dramatic final, one that carried deep personal significance. Standing in his way was none other than Clemente Russo, the very opponent who had halted his Olympic dreams in Beijing 4 years earlier. In the opening round, Russo's tricky style gave him the edge, forcing Usyk to adjust. Determined not to let history repeat itself, Usyk increased his aggression in the second round, utilizing a more active and high-paced approach to level the score. His ability to close the distance and unleash sharp combinations turned the tide in his favor. With the momentum on his side, Usyk took full control in the third round. Russo, now desperate, attempted to mount an offensive, but Usyk's superior movement and precise counterpunching picked him apart. When the final bell rang, Usyk emerged victorious with a 14-11 score, avenging his past defeat and etching his name in history. He became only the third Ukrainian boxer to win Olympic gold, following in the footsteps of Vladimir Klitschko in 1996 and Vasyl Lomachenko in 2008. By claiming the Olympic heavyweight gold medal, Usyk achieved what he still considers the most treasured accomplishment of his career. His grueling amateur journey, spanning 350 bouts against a wide array of styles and opponents from across the globe, was finally rewarded with the highest honor an amateur boxer can attain, dominating the cruiserweight division. With his Olympic dream fulfilled, Usyk turned his attention to the professional ranks, setting the stage for an eagerly anticipated career in the paid ranks. From his debut in November 2013, it took him just 9 fights, all won by knockout, to establish himself as a force to be reckoned with. His meteoric rise led to a world title opportunity against undefeated WBO champion Krzysztof Glowacki. Usyk delivered a masterclass performance, securing a decisive victory and officially launching a dominant cruiserweight reign. The WBO belt was his golden ticket into an innovative new tournament designed to determine the division's best fighter. In the opening round of the competition, Usyk faced seasoned veteran Marco Huck, a former long-reigning champion who had held the same WBO title for 6 years. Understanding the challenge posed by Huck's experience, Usyk countered with relentless energy and a barrage of powerful punches, ultimately forcing a stoppage in the 10th round. The emphatic victory reinforced Usyk's position as the tournament favorite and set up a highly anticipated semifinal clash against Mary's Brilliance, widely considered his toughest test yet. Unlike his previous opponents, Brilliance was an undefeated 23-0 WBC world champion at the peak of his career. A sharp and technically skilled puncher, he provided the back-and-forth battle that fans had been eagerly waiting for. By claiming the Olympic heavyweight gold medal, Usyk achieved what he still considers the most treasured accomplishment of his career. His grueling amateur journey, spanning 350 bouts against a wide array of styles and opponents from across the globe, was finally rewarded with the highest honor an amateur boxer can attain, dominating the cruiserweight division. In his battle against Mary's Brilliance, Usyk not only had to match his opponent's relentless combinations, but also showcase the endurance to outlast him in the later rounds. His resilience paid off as he emerged victorious, unifying the WBO and WBC cruiserweight titles. Having already displayed devastating power and aggression against Marco Huck, Usyk now demonstrated elite stamina and toughness against a prime Brilliance. The only thing left to complete his cruiserweight dominance was a masterclass performance against the dangerous Murat Gassiev, a fearsome 26-0 knockout artist who had bulldozed his way into the final with 2 brutal stoppages. As the IBF and WBA champion, Gassiev matched Usyk's 2 belts and shared the same ambition, to become the division's first ever 4-belt undisputed champion. But despite his reputation as a fearsome puncher, Gassiev was unable to cope with Usyk's precise jab, masterful footwork, and dazzling southpaw offense. Even a rare moment of success in the 4th round was quickly neutralized by Usyk's incredible chin and defensive skill. From the opening bell to the final round, Usyk delivered his most dominant performance of the tournament. All 3 judges scored the fight widely in his favor, officially crowning him the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. At 31 years old, the 2012 Olympic gold medalist had conquered the division in emphatic fashion, defeating Huck, Brilliance, and Gassiev, all on foreign soil, to claim the Muhammad Ali Trophy. While this historic achievement alone would have been a perfect farewell to the cruiserweight division, Usyk returned to the UK for a high-profile bout against Tony Bellew, the only major challenger left outside the tournament. In a thrilling fight, Usyk once again showcased his brilliance, securing a stunning 8th-round knockout and earning the admiration of a new fanbase. By this point, comparisons with his childhood idol Evander Holyfield were inevitable. Like Holyfield, Usyk had built a legendary amateur career, torn through elite cruiserweight competition, and unified the division in dominant fashion. With both men now regarded as the greatest cruiserweights of all time, there was only one challenge left for Usyk: conquering the heavyweight division. By claiming the Olympic heavyweight gold medal, Usyk achieved what he still considers the most treasured accomplishment of his career. His grueling amateur journey, spanning 350 bouts against a wide array of styles and opponents from across the globe, was finally rewarded with the highest honor an amateur boxer can attain, dominating the cruiserweight division. Before even stepping into the heavyweight division, Oleksandr Usyk's resume was already worthy of first-ballot Hall of Fame recognition. However, as with all truly exceptional fighters, the demand to step beyond their comfort zones and challenge bigger opponents is what separates the great from the legendary. From Sugar Ray Robinson and Henry Armstrong to modern icons like Roy Jones Jr. and Manny Pacquiao, boxing history has long celebrated those who conquered weight divisions beyond their natural size. Usyk faced this very challenge, knowing that replicating his cruiserweight dominance at heavyweight would be a monumental task, especially given the unlimited weight advantage his new opponents would have. Yet, in just 6 fights, Usyk defied the odds, capturing all 4 major heavyweight world titles by defeating 2 of the era's best. His transition to heavyweight was officially underway with 2 solid introductory victories over Chaz Witherspoon and Derek Chisora, demonstrating his ability to handle bigger, stronger opponents. The showdown with Anthony Joshua. Despite these wins, Usyk's true arrival in the heavyweight division came when he earned an immediate title shot against Anthony Joshua, thanks to his super champion status from the WBO. At the time, Joshua held the WBO, WBA, and IBF heavyweight titles and was widely regarded as the future of the division. Fate seemed to bind the 2 fighters together. In 2012, Usyk and Joshua won Olympic gold medals just 1 day apart and in the same arena, representing Ukraine and Great Britain, respectively. Many experts predicted Joshua's rise to superstardom, but a select few saw Usyk as a future threat to the heavyweight division. 9 years later, they found themselves back in London, facing off in a high-stakes world title fight. Fighting on home turf, Joshua entered as the betting favorite, enjoying a nearly 20-pound weight advantage over his challenger. His explosive athleticism and devastating knockout power posed a significant threat, one that had historically been difficult for smaller fighters to overcome. But Usyk was no ordinary challenger. A single ill-judged maneuver could have swiftly ended Usyk's night, as had happened to many of Joshua's previous opponents. However, those who closely followed Usyk's career understood the unique dangers he posed in return. From the opening rounds, Usyk's pinpoint southpaw precision stunned the pro-Joshua crowd. Despite Joshua's significant size and power advantage, Usyk's movement, feints, and rapid combinations kept the British champion off balance. The Ukrainian's ability to absorb Joshua's best shots and counter with clinical accuracy shocked the 65,000 fans in attendance. Joshua, aware of Usyk's elusive style, opted to prioritize accuracy over sheer power. Yet, no matter how he adjusted, Usyk remained one step ahead, controlling the pace and preventing Joshua from settling into any rhythm. As the rounds progressed, Joshua's energy began to fade under Usyk's relentless output. By the championship rounds, it became clear that a new unified heavyweight champion was about to be crowned. All three judges scored the fight in favor of Usyk, recognizing his superior ring generalship, work rate, and tactical brilliance. With this historic victory, Usyk joined Evander Holyfield and David Haye as only the third fighter in history to win world titles at both cruiserweight and heavyweight. However, while Usyk received widespread acclaim, Joshua faced heavy criticism. Many believed his overly cautious approach cost him the fight. Determined to reclaim his throne, Joshua activated his rematch clause immediately, enlisting the expertise of Robert Garcia, a trainer renowned for his aggressive, offensive strategies. The high-stakes rematch. Usyk had proven his superiority once, but he would have to do it again against a more determined, better-prepared Joshua with an adjusted game plan. From the opening bell, the rematch was fought at a much higher intensity. Unlike their first bout, where Usyk's movement and quick-fire attacks secured a clear decision, this time Joshua focused on targeting Usyk's body, forcing the Ukrainian into deeper waters. Joshua's aggressive approach put Usyk under immense pressure, particularly in the middle rounds, where his power punches and body shots threatened to turn the tide. At one point, Usyk seemed in real trouble as Joshua launched a relentless assault, testing the Ukrainian's resilience like never before. But Usyk's exceptional conditioning and warrior spirit allowed him to weather the storm. As Joshua fatigued from his own high-energy attack, Usyk suddenly shifted gears, increasing his work rate to an unmatchable level. His sharp bursts of offense not only drained Joshua physically but also shattered his confidence, undoing all the momentum he had built. Once again, as the final rounds approached, Joshua found himself exhausted and struggling to keep up, while Usyk, ever the master tactician, reaffirmed his place at the pinnacle of the sport. Overcome little man little I yes I little man stunning 5 in smaller in height and 7 in shorter in reach. The Ukrainian also faced an almost 440 weight disadvantage on fight night. He ain't the biggest puncher in the world and he's not the biggest strongest man in the world so and I can outbox him, I can get the front foot and slaughter him, there's plenty of ways that I can skin this cat. It therefore came as no surprise that with these factors in mind, Usyk entered the bout as the betting music underdog. I'm coming for his heart. That's what I'm coming for, his belts, I'm coming for his heart. He's get it tomorrow, spark out a lot of them, they can all get it if they want it. To those supporting the pro-Fury narrative, the fight appeared to be going the Gypsy King's way in the first 6 rounds. Despite a positive start in which Usyk found success with the straight lefts, the Briton took control by keeping the fight at distance and walking Usyk into jabs and uppercuts with the occasional crunching body shots also thrown into the mix. A dejected Usyk seemed unable to close the gap and mount a meaningful offense. Oh, good body shot, good body good body shot, trying hide behind the he's sick. For the first time he's moving, he's been putting in some wonderful work to the body. In that body shot, he's letting them body shots go. In the eyes of many in attendance, the fight was heading towards another Tyson Fury victory, but boxing is a sport where its many layers and sequences are often unfolding simultaneously, and what appeared to be happening on the surface differed tremendously from the underlying reality. What did you just say to Tyson Fury? Don't be afraid, I will not leave you alone tomorrow. Right from the opening bell, Usyk employed constant feints and quick-fire combinations to keep Fury on constant alert. His aggressive footwork to close the distance also meant that the bigger man was constantly towing his 260 pounds frame around the ring to maintain breathing space. Tyin, don't be afraid, I will not leave you alone tomorrow, let you hand STCK in the ring. This frantic rhythm meant that Fury, more than any other fight in his career, had expended tremendous amounts of energy, to which the consequences began showing as early as rounds 7 and 8, where Usyk regained control much better. This from Usyk come out st, it's like yeah, well, he had to. Oleksandr Usyk, the genius of these tactics finally paid dividends in a dramatic round 9 when Usyk unleashed a monstrous left to put Fury out on his feet. The brutal assault that followed could have prompted the referee's intervention, but by the time a knockdown was finally called, the bell sounded to save the WBC champion from an impending stoppage. Fury at the end of the nth round, a fight where many thought Fury was locked on for a dominant win, was instead turned on its head by the tremendously brave. With his intelligent tactics and relentless pressure, Usyk controlled the final 3 rounds, doing just enough to edge out a split decision victory. The official scorecards read 115-112 for Usyk, 114-113 for Fury, and 114-113 for Usyk, crowning him as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Usyk's greatness defined by securing 3 consecutive wins over 2 of the era's best heavyweights. Oleksandr Usyk joined an exclusive club. Alongside Naoya Inoue and Terence Crawford, he became one of the only male fighters in the 4-belt era to achieve undisputed status in 2 different weight classes. He came up from a tough cruiserweight era. Not every generation of cruiserweights is this strong. He became the undisputed champion against elite competition, and then stepped up to heavyweight and did it all over again. This remarkable feat also intensified comparisons with his idol, Evander Holyfield, the only other fighter to have unified titles in both cruiserweight and heavyweight divisions. Holyfield fought everyone, he unified the belts, and he's one of the greatest. Usyk now walks that same path. While today's heavyweight division may not be as deep as Holyfield's era, Usyk's ability to overcome physically superior opponents like Joshua and Fury suggests he could have thrived in any era. A true road warrior. What makes Usyk's journey even more impressive is the manner in which he conquered 2 weight classes. A true road warrior, he has not fought in his native Ukraine since his 9th professional bout. From cruiserweight to heavyweight, he toppled world champions on foreign soil, often in their home countries: Krzysztof Glowacki, Poland; Mariusz Briedis, Latvia; Murat Gassiev, Russia; Tony Bellew, UK; Anthony Joshua, UK. The only exception was his bout against Tyson Fury, which took place on neutral ground in Saudi Arabia. Don't worry, we win anywhere. Usyk's legacy, icing on the cake. At 37 years old, time is not on Usyk's side to build a long and storied heavyweight resume to match the sport's historic legends. However, with his dominant cruiserweight reign and undisputed heavyweight triumph, he has already done enough to cement himself as an all-time great. For many, Usyk has already secured his place as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Everything from here, including his highly anticipated rematch with Tyson Fury in December, is simply icing on the